This week on the podcast, we are sporting a brand new look. I, unfortunately, am missing a beard. We'll talk about that in a minute. We're joined by longtime friend of the show, Renditionzz. He's going to talk about his current love affair and addiction to Terraria. We cover a bunch of news from the last 2 weeks, and we let you know some deals that you guys can take advantage of right now. All of that and more in this week's episode of Next to Nothing. Roll the intro. If I can find my button. Oh no, can I not find my button? We'll go with this. You know, you would think I would have had like literally everything ready to go. But evidently, I am missing a button.
Butchering the start of your stream.
Oh, yeah. No, of course. Look, it's next to nothing. I have to, of course, fuck up. Right on the on the first.
You know why, Danny?
Why?
It's because you're an imposter. You don't know what you did. Where's the real Danny?
Okay, so I feel...
Where is he?
I feel like I have to explain the beard situation. So yesterday I got out of the shower and I intended to trim my beard. So I got my trimmers out. I put the guard on. I go down one side of my face just fine. You know, nothing terrible. Okay, time to go to the next side of the face. And the guard falls off as it touches my skin, and I take like a half-inch long drag off the side of my beard, no guard. So I have like this much, like a patch this big on the side of my face of like no hair. And so I tried to salvage it by taking everything down to a 1 guard, or to a 0 guard. No, a 1 guard. Everything down to a 0 guard, no dice. I tried to get rid of everything except for the goatee. And then I wake up this morning and look at the goatee, and I'm at my girlfriend's place, so I don't have my trimmers. And the right side of my face is way more lopsided than the left side of my face. I'm like, I can't walk around like that. So I just decided to shave it all off. I have never been more disappointed in myself than that, because I did not want to shave. It just happened. Anyways,
oh, man.
Guys, we appreciate you for watching. Actually, hold on. I need to do more introductions. With me, like I said, welcome to Next to Nothing, a podcast for gamers on a budget. I am your host, Danny K. With me, as always, the wonderful, the beautiful, the Mr. Greenly. Green, how are you doing?
I am doing fantastic. I need and like a nice 8-hour long nap, but I'm doing great. How are you doing? Today, Danny?
Other than being beardless, I am fine. With us this week, I'm going to give him the title of the Powerful and the Beautiful, but you guys know him. If you guys have been fans of the show for any amount of time, you know this man. Welcome back to the show, Renditionzz.
Hey, yo, what's going on, guys? Hello. Howdy. How's it going? How be? What's up?
Ren, for those of our viewers and listeners who have not met you yet, who are you, what do you do, and where do people find you?
Well, my name is Ren. I'm bad at games. I stream a whole bunch of different games on Twitch. I also put out like a little tiny bit of YouTube content right now. I used to be a podcast co-host with these two nerds, but yeah. So that's namely what I do. I've been playing a bunch of Terraria recently, but yeah, that's pretty much me. So yeah, there you go. You're welcome.
Excellent. Let me go on ahead. I need to boost you just up a little bit, Ren.
No worries.
All right. So, guys, we appreciate you for watching and listening. If this is your first time watching the show, we hope you guys get some value out of the show. This week, our question of the week is brought to you by Renditionzz, and that is, what is a game you find yourself always going back to? What game is your filthy, filthy habit? What's a game?
Those were my exact words.
What?
That's close enough, yeah.
What game can you just not quit? I can't quit you. Let
No,
us
I
I'm back
can't
here.
get you, Reginald.
Anyways, let us know in the chat, comments, or you can tweet at us. You can tweet at me at Danny K, DANIECAE. I also want to take this time to quickly announce that what our 3-year giveaway is going to be this year. This year, we're going to be doing a meme contest. So what you guys need to do is to create a meme related to the podcast, use the hashtag NTN and then the number 3. Hashtag NTN and the number 3. And the creator of our favorite meme will get a $60 gift card to the platform of your choice, and the runner-up will get a free mug from this year's merch lineup. How does that sound, guys?
That's a big flexing right there.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds pretty great. You're not going to hear me arguing over like a $60 gift card, dude.
To the So yeah,
No way.
and platform of your choice. If you want it to be an Epic Game Store thing, it can be Epic Games. If you guys want it to be Steam, it can be Steam. If you guys want it on Xbox or PlayStation, you guys tell us what platform you want a $60 gift card to, and you guys will get it. And again, all you have to do is create a meme related to the podcast and send it to us via Twitter using hashtag NTN and the number 3. That's all you got to do. And then what I think Green and I will do is we'll probably like pick the winner in like a pre-show live stream where we just like go through the memes together, and whoever wins we'll let know after that. So that's all you guys got to do. And of course, guys, if you miss any part of the show this week, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. I think that's all of the housekeeping that we need to do, right? So let's go on ahead and get into Terraria, Ren.
Yeah. Oh, man. Dude. Okay, so first off, I've been digging Terraria. I've been playing it for like 3 months at this point. And I should probably note, like, it's hard for me to stick to a game for longer than like a month max, just overall in general. If you guys aren't familiar with it, it's an action-adventure game released all the way back in 2011. It's been actually worked on for over the past 10 years, and its final update came out just last year. It's pretty much considered 2D Minecraft by a lot of people, but then it turns out those people have no idea what they're talking about, because Terraria is really focused on combat, loot, and just overall gameplay, versus Minecraft's more sandboxy, pure nature of just like trying to build things and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a whole bunch of different enemies, there's a whole bunch of different bosses, weapons, there's 340 different enemies in the game alone, let alone 32 bosses, 555 weapons, different play styles, different classes that you can play as. There's a whole bunch of different things going on, right? Really, really entertaining content. I've been going at it for probably over recently. It's been about 400 hours, something like that, just over like the past couple of months. And that's not even going over mod content. So for those who know me, right, I'm actually a big fan. I'm a big advocate of modding in general. And the gameplay that's actually getting shown, sorry for the listeners, but for the gameplay that's getting shown right now, this is all Calamity. This is all from a special mod pack, and it adds basically like double the content of base Terraria, and it's super easy to set up. It took me maybe 30 seconds to get done, and it's super easy, super clear cut, just really, really fun content. And yeah, that being said, there's the one unfortunate downside to this game, and that's the new player experience is a little bit rough. It's really hard to get into it as a new player just because there's so many things going on, and there's so much that you can kind of do. And checking out the Terraria wiki is a pretty common thing. Like, that's a fairly common thing if you're playing Terraria. But I kind of look at that as sort of an advantage to the game. I think that so many games nowadays are really unbelievably hand-holdy, and this is one of the few games that I'm currently been playing that just doesn't feel that way, right? You're kind of playing it however you want to play it, and whether it feels too easy or too hard is really based off of how you're going through the game itself. But yeah, that being said, with all of this being said, the game is normally $10 on Steam as a base price, and I actually bought this game way back for like $2 at the time, and half the time it's on sale for $5. It's super worth it, honestly. And I think if I remember checking my notes, it was out of 600,000 ratings, it had an overwhelmingly positive rating, which is the highest I've ever heard of for any sort of game in general on Steam in terms of reviews. But yeah, that pretty much goes over like the gist of Terraria. I think it's definitely worth trying at minimum, and I think it's really fun. There's so much content there that you're just not super accustomed to in most games, and yeah, it's really just not handholdy. I think that's the biggest thing for me personally why I love it, is that you're kind of going at your own pace, and it might seem simple when you're first getting into it, but it gets so much more and more complex over time. But yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
Yeah, so for anyone who is interested, like if Ren's quick sale on it interested you, you can find Terraria on, is it Terraria or Terraria?
It's Terraria, yeah.
Terraria. You can find it on Android, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, the Nintendo Switch, iOS, and apparently more. Let's see, what else is it?
It goes all the way down to like 3DS.
Does it really?
Yeah, this game's almost like a decade old. So it's on like platforms way, way older than you would expect them to be. Albeit, they're not updated right, because like 3DS is pretty much dead and gone at this point, right? So you can't really expect it to be fully updated.
How dare you?
I'm just saying. Listen, I'm just saying. I haven't seen a 3DS in... probably the time that it released. Probably since then. But yeah, there's so much content there, though. I really do recommend, at least at bare minimum, trying it and just seeing if it's something that you're interested in. Because if it turns out that it is something that you're interested in, don't be surprised when you sink in hundreds of hours into this game. It definitely will happen. And I mean, I don't know about you, but like $5 for hundreds of hours of content is kind of great. Yeah, it's kind of great. That's a great deal.
Yeah. And I will also point out here, I'm looking at the Steam page. According to SteamDB, the lowest recorded price was $1.99. That's an 80% discount. That was, although I will say, that last price was December 24th, 2014.
That was a long time ago.
Let me look at find the most recent sale.
The most recent sale was actually during this summer sale.
Yeah, $4.99.
Yeah, it's super affordable. It's really easy to do. And the modding itself, I should note, the modding is just inherently part of Steam. You can, once you download the game on Steam, you can get the mod loader for it specifically, and it comes with the mod browser and everything. You can mod it right then and there. It takes no time at all. It's super easy. It's super clear cut. But yeah, it's great. It's wonderful. It's really surprising to me, because normally I just get bored of games really fast. This is the one game recently in the past like 5 years that I haven't gotten like super bored of instantaneously.
Yeah, I mean, other than just the fact that there's so much there, is there like other reasons? Is it like the game? Is like the gameplay itself really rewarding? Is there like?
Yeah. So
what makes it so addicting?
How do I go about this? So I think the biggest thing about it, right, is that this is a class-based game. And that might seem like a little bit weird when you think about it as like 2D Minecraft. But when you're thinking of like a standard RPG, right, where you're like, you have melee characters and mages and maybe summoners and stuff like that, this game actually plays that exact same way. That's kind of like the playstyle of it in general. And so many things about that is based on what kind of way that you want to play, that differentiates how you approach the game, right? So for somebody that like goes for range gear and stuff like that, you might be wanting to like get a bow, which is relatively easy to get, right? You just get ores and stuff like that. But if you want to go for like a summoner style playthrough, the game takes a completely different turn. You approach bosses in a different way. You approach getting gear in a different way entirely. Accessories and things like that, because this is a looting based game. You get accessories that boost certain like traits and stats and all of that. You basically approach everything that's very specific paths, right? And like, say that you want to go for a range playthrough, right? Even in the range playthrough itself, you have different pathways that you can go. So you can go for like, maybe I want to use bows. Maybe I want to use guns. Maybe I just want to use rockets and just blow up the entire world. That's an option that you can do, right? And I think that's really cool about it. I think the fact that there's just so many diverse options that you can do, and they're all really interesting. Like every single one that I've tried has been a really interesting and different way of playing the game. I think that really, really helps towards making it just that much more content driven, and it doesn't make any of the bosses feel bland. I think that's the big thing. Because like, if you're approaching a boss that maybe like focuses on a lot of ads, right? Like a lot of like miniature minions or something like that. Something like a ranger that really prioritizes single target damage is going to struggle in that fight versus something that's like really AoE focused, right? And it's a really cool way of playing the game. That's how I feel about it. Not to mention, this is a multiplayer game too, right? All the content that you're seeing right now is all single player based, sure. But you can play this with up to like, I've seen people play this with up to 100 people. This game gets really insane the more people that you add to this. And I have a server that I play with viewers, and we put it on the hardest difficulty, and it's hilarious. I'm gonna be honest, it's hilarious watching people die because the bosses just get that much stronger based on the amount of players you have in. And certain characters can like handle it totally fine, and then certain characters just can't. Like they don't know how to handle that sort of fight, and then just watching people just get demolished over and over and over again, hilarious. Honestly, it kept cracking me up the entire time. But yeah, so that's really my 2 cents on it.
Yeah. So related to the multiplayer, I do have a few questions for you.
Yeah.
First being like, how do you go about finding people to play with? Like, do you go into the forums? Do you go?
So
go ahead. Yeah. How do you find people? How do you find that community?
Yeah. So it is IP hosted, right? So you're hosting it from your own computer. And normally you can just do it through like Steam multiplayer. That's a great way of doing it. So where you can just add your Steam friends to the game and just play with them, and it's a ton of fun. There is special servers that you can just go to. They're not listed on Terraria specifically, but you can always go to forums and then look for those servers and try to join those as well. And the important thing to note too is that these mods carry over to servers as well, right? So if you want to approach how do I want to go about this? If you want to approach that modded playthrough that we just saw in the video, that's called Calamity. You can set up a Calamity server, and then people join in and automatically get that mod pack, and then play that version, right? So there's that. It's really cool about that. It's very similar to Minecraft in that sense. There is a lot of similarities to Minecraft. They both are sandbox games. I can't really argue about that. It's just the detail that Terraria... This is something I actually forgot to mention, is Terraria changes over the course of the game, right? So in Minecraft stays pretty like stable. You'll have deserts, you have forests, things like that. Terraria, over the course of the game, there's corruption, which tries to take over the world. And the farther you get into the game, it introduces more and more of these unique areas that try to take over the world and try to make it something completely different. And yeah, so in a sense, you're almost playing against a timer, but not really. It's definitely fixable if like corruption overtakes everything, and the timer isn't that big of a deal. But it's just really interesting to play with a very dynamic world. I think that's really the biggest thing about it, is that the game changes over time, and that's something you don't recognize as a new player. Initially, you're just like, oh, okay, yeah, no, there's just this one spooky area. And then you kill one boss, and then the spooky area gets really spooky really fast and just starts taking over everything. And, I don't know, it's just super fun. But to go back to, like, the main question that we were going at, namely Steam multiplayer, you can always join with your friends, and there are occasional servers that you can find, maybe on, like, the Terraria subreddit, or in the forums themselves that you can find to join as well.
Yeah, and is this a game that you feel like people would kind of need a Sherpa for? Are you familiar with the term Sherpa?
No, but I'm curious. Do you mean like a guide?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's kind of the one big downside, right? But at the same time, I feel like a lot of really good games kind of have that same feeling. right? Where like there's so much going on and it's a lot to take in, and you kind of start off lost and confused. Yeah, checking out the wiki is probably a good idea. I recommend it. I do it all the time. But that being said, I think it's kind of nice in the fact that like you experience it and you learn it for yourself, right? There's so many games that like they're either so similar to something else, right? Like Minecraft and every other Minecraft clone in the history of the universe all play kind of the same sort of way. Um, but not many games play similarly to Terraria. Not really, and not in my opinion. Um, so yeah, honestly, I would say yeah, you're probably gonna have to check out some guides every now and then just to get an idea of what you're doing, and maybe you find like an item and you don't know what to do with it. But that being said, there's an in-game guide. There's an NPC called the guide. You can take any item or anything like that to him, and he'll tell you everything that that thing can turn into and how to turn it into that. So you can get away without having the wiki, and I kind of encourage it, but you probably will need it every now and then. So yeah, that's the unfortunate part.
Gotcha. Green, you've been a little quiet. I apologize. I've been domineering.
I don't have any questions really. I've watched Ren play it a few times, and it's definitely an interesting thing to watch, for sure.
Yeah, in watching, this is a game where I think a lot of people stream it, and there's a lot of YouTube content about it. So I think this is one of those games, a lot like Minecraft, where you can get stuck into
Yes.
like you can get like it's like a rabbit hole, like it can consume your entire life. Like you can play the game and then you can live the game.
Yeah, yeah. I definitely will say I've been living the game for like a bit. Like I said, this is the first game maybe. I thought I've only been playing this game for like a month. And then somebody reset for like 4 months, and I was like, wait a minute, you showed up when I started. Wait, how long have I been doing this? Hold on. Wait a second.
Just losing
Oh,
yourself.
man.
Losing
I
yourself.
guess so. It's been really fun, though. It's been really surprising how good of a time I've had with it.
Yeah. Anything else on Terraria?
No, that pretty much covers it. Definitely worth at least looking into, for sure.
Well, while Ren eventually escapes from Terraria, Green,
Maybe.
you're escaping from Tarkov.
Yeah. No. Yeah. So I picked up a Escape from Tarkov a while ago. I hadn't actually played it, but then I believe it was last week or the week before, they did their annual reset, which essentially makes all players go back to zero, regardless of what you had and stuff like that. And for anyone who doesn't know what Escape from Tarkov is, it is best way to describe it is hell, literal hell.
Wow.
Dark Souls FPS, but it's extremely addictive. I've actually been enjoying it a lot more than I've had playing Warzone, to be honest. Which my love for Warzone has quite significantly faded in the past few months. So, but yeah. So Escape from Tarkov, you play as either a character or play as what's called the scav. The scav mode, you go in and you're just trying to loot the area for equipment, and the PMC or the your actual main character, you go into a raid, and that raid essentially you're trying to find items and survive against scavs and other PMCs. You can go up to, I believe, teams of 5 into these raids. It is supposed to be extremely realistic. Like if you get shot in your arm, if it hits bone, it actually fractures your arm. You can have light bleeding or heavy bleeding. Weapons have like a realistic time to reload. They do damage depending on what kind of ammunition you have in it, like if it's armor piercing or non-armor piercing, or if you're running like 7mm buckshot and a shotgun or magnum slugs. Yeah. So when you go out of the raid, you have your stash in your hideout that you can put all these items in, and you can also get with they're dealers or like people that you buy stuff from, like AIs. They each have their own set of like what they sell, but they also offer you tasks that you complete. Like they need you to get something in the game, to give to them, um, which is kind of a pain in the ass. But that's like the only way to like level up. So, or well, you level up faster by completing these tasks. I do have to say is the game's awful.
Is it?
I love it. It's so bad.
I can't tell. Like you say, you love it. Is this like another love-hate relationship?
I really enjoy playing the game. I don't get pissed off like I do with Warzone because there's something wrong with Warzone. Tarkov is more of a frustration from like the difficulty. So like I can go into a raid, I can be looted up to high heaven with level 4 armor and a nice shotgun that I spent a lot of money on to build up, right? And I go in, I don't see someone, they see me first. They absolutely shit on me and put me in a cardboard box, okay? And I lose all that stuff. Like that stuff does not come with you. Whatever you
Right.
take into a raid, if you die there, it stays there. That other person takes it. You can put insurance on it, but that doesn't mean you're gonna keep it. Like it doesn't mean it's gonna come back. Because if that person takes that stuff out of your bag and goes, it's gone. Like the insurance, the person that you get the insurance from will like, well, we looked, but we didn't find it. So yeah, it's more of like the how I imagine people who really like Dark Souls, uh, but in FPS form. So it's been very addictive. As I said, I paid for this a while ago. But then everyone's like, "Oh, we're playing Tarkov because there's a reset." I didn't know what that meant, so I was new anyways. So I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." So I go in, and yeah, I'm doing pretty well at it. I'm starting to get the hang of it. One thing I do have to say, this game does not hold your hand whatsoever. Like there is no tutorial for this game. Like you just go in. They're like, "Oh, this is," like you pick your character, like what your character looks like, and then boom. You either do a scav or you do a PMC. The first time I played it, when I first purchased it, and inevitably why I didn't play it until reset, is because I went into a PMC not knowing what I'm doing, and I immediately, like, I spawned in, took 2 steps, got shot, lost all my things. I'm like, what the hell? Where's all my stuff that I just had? And then I'm like, okay, this game fucking sucks, and I shut it down. But uh, playing with people is like the biggest thing, like people who know what they're doing.
Mhm.
I know YouTube has a lot of tutorials on how to Tarkov, I guess.
Right.
So if you're the kind of person who like likes tutorials and like wants to know how this is supposed to go, like this isn't the game for you. Um, uh, yeah, because it can be very, very frustrating. Um, the biggest thing about this game is it's been in closed beta since 2017.
Really?
The closed
Closed
beta
beta?
released. Yeah, the closed beta came out on July 27th of 2017. As far as I'm aware, this game has never had a sale. It is like you're pre-ordering the game. If you it doesn't go through Steam, it goes through its own launcher. It's Battlestar Games launcher. So you have to download a launcher to play the game. You have to go to the website to pre-order the game to get access to the closed beta that's been happening for 4 years now, almost to a T. Um, Nobody knows when this will be officially released, and it is pretty pricey. Uh, Let me see. I know they have different tiers of like what you can, like what you can do for the
Yeah.
game.
I
Right.
I will say, when it comes to EFT, there
Give me
has
one second.
been some controversy related to, I think, is it Battlestar or is it Battle State?
It's Battle State.
Battle. Is it Battle? Yeah, Battle State Games.
So
Yeah.
there has been controversy when it comes to Battle State games, um, and their like refund policy or lack thereof. Um, I'm pretty sure Sid Alpha put them on his dirty devs list.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a whole kerfluffle over some of their behavior. They are a Russian developer, and they very much do things their own way. Like Green said, they're not on Steam, they're not on Epic, so there's not a third party. You're dealing with them directly when you make your purchase, which is just a word of caution. I do have some stats if we want to get into some system requirements.
If you could run that real quick, I got to run upstairs real quick.
Yeah. So
Nothing to stop.
anyone interested in Escape from Tarkov, if you're looking to maybe run it, you need a dual core processor, 2.4 gigahertz. It's either a 2 Duo i3 or a 2.6 gigahertz AMD Athlon Phenom 2. You need 6 gigs of RAM. You need to have Windows 7, 8, 10, or possibly Windows 11. 64-bit. Your video card should be DirectX 11 compatible with 1 gig of memory. Pixel Shader 5.0, Vertex Shader 5.0, sound card. You need one, obviously. I'm going through like a list, and I'm not like I didn't like pre-read
Not
it
like
all.
checking it. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks like you also need 8 gigs of RAM and 1 gig of RAM for dedicated. I'm sorry, did I say 8 gigs of RAM? I meant 8 gigs of free disk space on your hard drive.
Oh, okay. I was like, I thought you said 6 gigs earlier.
No,
but okay.
no, I'm just being silly. I apologize. And then the recommended requirements.
Oh, so that was minimum.
That was minimum.
Okay, that makes sense because I initially was like, that seems really like oddly low. I would expect it to be much higher than this.
Honestly, I don't even think that might. I'm not even sure that's accurate. Let me see if I can find another one. Otherwise, the recommended, at least this is from systemrequirementslabs.com, is who's saying this.
Right.
The recommended requirements, according to this website, is quad-core processor, 3.2 gigahertz, so an Intel i5 or i7, 3.6 gigahertz AMD FX Athlon. They recommend 8 gigs of RAM. The OS requirements are still the same. Video card with DirectX 11 compatible graphics with 2 gigs or more of memory. Pixel Shader 5.0, Vertex Shader 5.0, and then the recommended requirement is dedicated video RAM of 2 gigs.
That seems, maybe that's just me. That seems like a really weird offloading. Yeah, like for the CPU, that's pretty decent CPU. I feel like an i5 to an i7 is pretty okay for this like state, but 2 gig VRAM seems really low. Maybe that's just me, and I don't necessarily know what that exactly contributes to the system requirements of like a standard user, but that just seems odd to me. That seems specifically like a weird detail.
It's not like super graphically intense, like compared
Is it not?
to. Yeah, it's mild, I would say, compared to like games like Warzone or Apex Legends. Like it still it like tries for realistic look, but it's not like
that's
super,
not like its
super
main
intense.
goal.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes more sense, because I was like, I know this game really focuses on the realism, and I've thought about picking up in the past, but dead honest, this is like the one game where I've thought about it and I'm like, I'm too anxious for this. No way. I've seen some of these firefights, and like the amount of like listening that you have to do to make sure you don't get shot in the head in like the first 5 seconds. It's like, no, I think I'm good. I think I'm all right.
Yeah, it's very, very sound intensive, and like I feel like every time you get in a fight, like it's difficult to recover from it.
Right.
Because like if you get shot, you're bleeding, and then like you have to figure out how to heal yourself from that or from that bleeding or from that fracture or something. Because if you don't, like if you're have a heavy bleed, you're going to die. Like you have to use a splint or a tourniquet or something.
Right.
And like if your health, because it has like a health screen of like each body part, like from torso to arms and head, like if one of those goes to 0, you lose that arm. If that arm goes to 0, The only way to recover from that is to have like a special item that actually like uh, recovers it back to where you can heal it back up.
Right.
It's a CMS kit, like a survival kit. So like, and once it's gone, it's gone. Like if you lose an
Yeah.
arm, your aim is drastically worse. Like if you lose your legs, you're worse. Like hobbling to where you need to go. Like you're no longer running, you're no longer walking. You are hobbling. So it's a tough game. It definitely is like the key is to shoot at your person first. It'll hit your shot before they hit their shot.
Yeah.
Because if not,
Right.
you're fucked up.
So I've got a question for you, Green, because we literally just reviewed Hunt Showdown, which is another very intense game. I mean, there's a lot of similarities, but I really want to talk about the sound design because Hunt Showdown's like one of its main appeals is its sound design. How does the sound design from Escape from Tarkov compare to Hunt Showdown?
Say they're on like this the same par. I would say. The biggest thing with like Tarkov is like you can put on like a headset that amplifies essentially like a hearing aid. But the downside for that is like your footsteps are loud as fuck because you can hear them. So like it is very crucial. The sounds are very well designed in my opinion, especially like bullet travel, like the sound from a bullet, like a shots being fired. Like you can tell which direction they're from. You can hear people running and scurrying if they're close, stuff like that. There's not like a huge amount of like audio cues like Hunt Showdown has, where there's like birds that fly off or broken glass on the ground. Like there's stuff on the ground like you can tell the difference between if they're walking on cement versus walking through some bushes, stuff
Right.
like that. But there's not like cans on the ground that you step on and it jingles, or you walk through like chains and you can hear the chains jingling and shit like that. I would say for sound quality, I would say they're both on the same level, but they're definitely distinctually different.
Yeah, I think to be fair, I haven't played either of them, but I do know that like that's a big focus that Hunt does have, right? Is that ambient sound effect, right? Where you're walking through like an area and maybe crows go off, and so people are like, oh, okay, crows went off in this area, that means there's somebody over there, right? Versus Tarkov, where like sure the sound design's pretty good, but it's standard like it's almost standard FPS sound design, right? Like yeah, it's
Pretty much.
important, but they're not going to be focusing on like little tiny details. It's going to be like, okay, are they walking on metal, right? If they're walking on metal, maybe they're walking on like a metal pathway in a building, right? Versus like a concrete where they're like, okay, they're on the ground floor. That makes sense. I can go off of that, right? But I do know that Hunt really focuses, like that's its crucial thing, right? Is just focusing on those little ambient sounds of
Oh yeah,
like,
it's great.
okay, crows went off. Okay, I heard a boss die. Maybe I heard like a scream come from like a random enemy somewhere or something like that. And it's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. I totally get that. But yeah, I think Tarkov, I think you're right. I think you're right in the sense that like it's FPS, but like really overdriving on the reality sense, right? Of
Yeah,
like, okay, yeah, you get an arm wound. It's great, cool. You got a fractured arm and like a wound as well. So you're gonna have to bandage it. You're gonna have to like, get like some sort of a splint or something and like manage that, right? But but yeah, I think that's like the major difference there. I don't know. For me personally, I don't think I could do Tarkov. Tarkov has so many things going on, and that's really cool about it, right? That's actually kind of the thing that was like initially like, man, I kind of want to play Tarkov until I witnessed the gameplay, and I was like, this is too much for me. This is too much. I
yeah.
have a panic attack over here, hoping I'll get shot.
If you're mainly into like the difficult FPS style games, then Tarkov would be great.
Yeah.
But if you're someone who likes a mass variety, I would honestly recommend Hunt Showdown over Tarkov. Like I like Tarkov. Tarkov's fun. I don't think for the price, if you're just like in more of a casual style gameplay, I
Hmm.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah.
Whereas Hunt even at $40 like full price right now is worth it. Whereas like Tarkov, you gotta want. to play Tarkov to pay the full
Yeah, you got to
price for
put in the
Tarkov.
work for Tarkov. If there's one thing that I know from watching any of my other friends playing Tarkov, they put a lot of time into Tarkov because it's
Yeah.
either you like it or you don't. Like it's not like it's kind of all right, I guess. It's like I get it and I want more, or it's like I don't want this. I don't want this.
And the biggest thing with like the the pay grades for Tarkov is like they really try to get you to get that extra order,
Right.
which is I think is like $150 total. Well, I paid like the initial like I think I've paid $95 total. I bought the base game I think at $35 or $40, something like that,
Uh-huh.
and then I spent an extra $55 on the upgrade for a bigger stash because like I was having like like I don't want to sell this thing because
Right.
I don't know if I need it in the future
Yeah, it might
kind
be
of thing. So I
valuable.
had like a stash full of shit, and it's like you run out of space because it's like Tetris in there. Like if it doesn't fit, you don't keep it.
Hmm.
So the with that they like each tier has like a bigger stash that you can put items in,
Right.
up to like the full pre-ordered $95 extra, which comes with like all free DLCs when they have DLCs, which who knows if they're gonna have DLCs because they've
Yeah.
been on beta for 4 years.
Yeah, no, that's a great
So
point.
like uh yeah, it's just it's crazy. Like for a more enjoyable casual experience, I honestly would recommend Hunt just for that fact. Like you may pay the same for the base price without any sales on Steam,
Hmm.
but it's more enjoyable for casual players.
Right. Yeah.
Um, and then on top of that, Steam has Steam sales, so you can get
That's
the
true.
game potentially cheaper.
Yeah,
Whereas
I
I've
think I
never seen
saw
Tarkov
Hunt
cheaper.
on sale at one point for like maybe like $25. Maybe
Yeah,
I'm wrong on that.
the
I don't know.
Steam sale was I think it was half off for 19.99, and I've
Yeah, okay.
recommended that game to so many people because it's been fun. So
Yeah. Wow. I didn't even take into account the pricing tiers, right? Because I knew there were pricing tiers, but I didn't think about like the impact of like storage based on pricing tier, which for me personally, that's kind of like a downside more than anything, right? It's like sure, yeah, I could pay more to get like extra storage, right? But like that's a lot of money investment for a game that like even off the start, you don't know if you're gonna like it, right? Maybe
yeah,
down the road you're like, maybe I'll get the upgrade, but like even then it's like for $150 total
yeah,
personally to me that's just like I like my wallets.
yeah, and the biggest thing like too is that it will inevitably reset again.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Like I think
Yeah.
they say like someone told me that like every Christmas Eve, like they do
Hmm.
like reset twice a year, like in the middle of the year and then like like Christmas Eve. So
Right.
like everything that you're gonna acquire, you're gonna have to redo again.
Right,
Which
yeah.
like I get like I know it keeps the game fresh and stuff like
Yeah.
that, but like just imagine like you're grinding all that just for it to be taken away.
Yeah, no, that like I completely agree with that. Don't get me wrong, because I know that I've heard a lot of people really like the reset because you start from scratch and then you're trying to build up from the ground up again, right? And it's almost that new player experience all over again. But also there's the
Essentially, yeah.
other side where it's like, bro, I spent so much time on this game just to get all this stuff lost. I don't want that. And I just spent like what, $150 on this game just to lose everything? Oh hell no.
But you get to
What?
keep your storage and any future DLCs.
Yeah.
One of the big things that I do have to say it does come in handy with paying the extra is
Uh-huh.
like your character when you go into a PMC raid, your character has a pouch that whatever is in that pouch you do not lose.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like if you have like some expensive heals and stuff, you put that in the pouch. Well, it starts off as a 2x2, so
Hmm.
four total uh spaces that you can put like single square items in, or two square items. So like,
Right.
yeah, when you pay the extra, you get a bigger pouch, up to I believe it's the if you pay the full price for the the Edge Darkness DLC
Uh-huh.
edition, where you get a gold crown next to your name and you're super badass, and you get they call it a gamma pouch, I believe. It's gamma
Mhm.
pouch, and then it's a I believe 3x3, or no, it's 9 total spaces. So, so
Yeah, so it'd be a 3x3
yeah,
if it's 9 total. Yeah.
yeah, something like that. Where mine's
So
Math.
it's
with
around
the
there.
math is weird. I don't understand the maths. So like I think mine, I with the $5 one, the one just under the super expensive one, I have a two
Mhm.
by three. Yeah, 2x3. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have 6 total squares.
2 plus
Is
2
there
equals 4.
Was it worth it? Was it worth it? I don't know. Not really, but you know,
is there any way to get like any storage upgrades in game? Like even if it's like completely absurd? Like
yes.
there is?
So
Okay.
there you can get something called a lucky scav box that the
Uh-huh.
therapist sells.
Okay.
It is 1.1 million rubles.
Uh, How much is 1.1 million rubles?
I don't know. You can get like that's another thing in the game. They have different monetary like
Right.
money is in the game. So like the main one is rubles. Like
Mhm.
most of the like sellers deal in rubles. One of them does have rubles and euros, so you can use
Okay.
euros as well. And then
So
there's one that is clearly American. His name is Peacekeeper. He sells American weapons, and he only deals in U.S. dollars. However, you can swap the rubles for U.S. dollars. I think it's like 125 rubles to each U.S. dollar.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so like when they restart it, I think you start out with like 500,000 rubles. So when you're
Okay.
raiding, when you go into raids, you can find money, or like you take the items and then you can sell them to get more rubles for U.S. dollars or euros.
Right.
So, um, it was kind of a grind to get that
Yeah.
1.1 million. Like I definitely needed it because like the scav box only puts in uh stuff that is like not considered, it's essentially considered junk,
Right.
quote unquote junk. So like
Yeah.
you can't put food in there, you can't put like ammo. But it's like the stuff that like you end up needing for like your hideout or for like quests and stuff like that. Which like when you're going in and you're like a loot goblin like I am, and you're grabbing literally everything, it comes in handy because like
Right.
you never know how many AA batteries you need or
I have a bunch of remotes, dude.
matches.
I'm gonna need to turn on
Yeah,
my TV at some point.
who knows if I'm gonna need this light bulb that's energy efficient.
shiny things
You
go
know?
click clack in my hand.
Yeah, exactly. So like it saved a lot of space in my stash, and then I just ended up filling it with more ammo. You can also buy an ammo case that holds
Okay.
ammo, and it only holds ammo. So, and I think there's like someone said there was another case or something. I just don't remember what.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
which like it takes up some squares in your stash, but when you open it, it has more squares.
Right.
So
Yeah.
another thing is like you can put backpacks within backpacks. So I have literally a backpack that has a backpack in it, which has another backpack in it, which has another backpack in it, which
I was
has
about to just
another
ask how
backpack
far
in it.
this goes. Yeah.
It's a total of 6 backpacks, and then there's junk in the last backpack. So somehow, magically, if you put backpacks within backpacks, it does not degrade the amount of stuff you can shove in the first backpack. Like a rabbit hole of backpacks.
It's a bag of
Oh my
holding.
goodness.
It is really like I can indefinitely make backpacks. Like until it's like I'm sure there has to be a limit. I have not reached that
Yeah.
limit yet.
The storage system it reminds me a lot of like WoW and also like Resident Evil in the case where like it's tile based, right? So
Mhm.
like in Resident Evil, right, you'll have like a shotgun, maybe that's like a 2 by 5 tile set, and that takes up like a good amount of your storage, right? But also in WoW, obviously you can buy like pouches, and then that adds like extra space and stuff like that. That's just kind of what I'm thinking about right now.
I think the biggest thing I do want to mention as well is the hideout. So like you can
Hmm.
do like upgrades to your hideout, and that's why you need a lot of that junk. But they did introduce something called a Bitcoin farmer or
Okay.
Bitcoin farm. So like it does take in like real world Bitcoin value.
Hmm.
So once you get that actually set up, I think it's like 20% of what the real life like at that moment Bitcoin is,
Uh-huh.
and it'll farm that amount for you in
Oh,
rubles. So
okay.
I haven't unlocked it yet, so I haven't tried it. But like you do these upgrades, like you do like security, like a med station, a rest space, and that all like goes towards like either your character, like how long it takes to recuperate between each raid. Because when you go into a raid, you have to, you know, keep in mind that your water level and your hunger level, and you
Hmm.
actually have to eat and drink in between raids if you don't die. Which
Wow.
if you die, then you just pay the rubles to get back to full health. Then you don't
Right.
have to worry about it. But if you survive, you're equally fucked because you still have to drink and eat if you want to go
Great, no
back
matter
in.
what, you lose.
Yeah, and like let's say you get shot, right, and you
Hmm.
die, and like let's say you're like, oh, I'll get off for the night, and then tomorrow you'll be fresh up. Your energy and health and water levels will still be up. But like let's say you got shot and you had a fracture, you
Right.
have to fix that fracture before you go into a PMC, or that fracture is still going to be there. So
Oh,
yeah,
all right.
like if you don't fix the stuff before you go into the next raid, you are going to be hurting still, and it is
To
awful.
be honest, that sounds really frustrating.
Yeah, I didn't realize I had a broken leg once, like a fractured leg, and I went
You're
in
just
like
like,
I'm
for
like
the past 3 games, I just felt like I can't move. I don't know what's going on.
yeah. So that's exactly like I cut off for the day after I got injured. I'm like I'm not gonna pay anything because I'm getting off anyways. I'll let him recuperate on his own time. I go into the next raid the next day, and I'm like, it kept warning me that I was heavily wounded, but all my health stuff was up. And I didn't realize that it said my leg was fucking fractured. So I'm sitting there hobbling, like, okay, does anyone have something to fix my leg? Because I'm fucked up right now. I can't move. Yeah, it's bad. It's a great game. It's fun to play.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, but you got to really want to play it.
Yeah.
So it in my opinion, it does beat Warzone. Like
Yeah.
I haven't ran into like an abundance of hackers or game breaking glitches and stuff like that. You know, because
Hmm.
the game's been in beta for 4 years.
So, with that, I feel like we need to take a break.
Yeah.
We'll come back. We got lots of news and deals of the month still coming up, guys. We'll be right back. Give us 2 minutes. Stay right there.
Ad break.
Please join us for Summer MidiCon 2021. This event is open to the public at Iowa Brewing Company in downtown Cedar Rapids, Iowa. There is a 2-drink minimum in order to attend this event. Come meet like-minded creatives right here in Iowa. Network and collaborate with other live streamers, video makers, podcasters, and influencers. Just a fan? Come have a few drinks with your favorite content creators. This is a safe and welcoming event with a focus on community building and growth. All ages and experience levels are welcome. Enjoy delicious and refreshing locally made beer in the gorgeous Iowa Brewing Company tap room. Kombucha and a soda fountain are also available for non-alcoholic and underage attendees. Iowa Brewing Company does not provide food at their location, but encourages you to order from other amazing local businesses in downtown Cedar Rapids. So join us for this amazing event, Saturday, July 24th, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And we are back. Guys, thank you for letting us take that break. Much appreciated. So we've got news to talk about. Let's start with Nintendo. Huh? Let's
Sure.
start with Nintendo. Because I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie, I have a little bit of Schadenfreude here. Is Schadenfreude? No, that's not the right. Anyways, I have a little bit of I told you so.
I don't know what that even means, Danny.
It's a German term. I think I'm using it wrong. Anyways,
You probably are. That doesn't sound correct. I don't know what it means, but it doesn't sound correct.
So
I'm feeling a little bit of Guten Tag right now.
a little Guten Tag. Oh yeah, I want some. I'm feeling a little schnitzel. I'm feeling a little schnitzely. Anyways, Nintendo has announced a new Switch, and this is just delicious to me because I got into a conversation with somebody on Twitter who I'm like, look, obviously this was like about a month ago. I'm like, the Switch Pro hasn't been announced. It's 5 years into the Switch's lifespan, right? About.
Yeah.
So it's 5 years. I think they're going to make a new Switch. They're going to make a Switch 2. They're not going to make a Switch Pro. They're going to make a Switch 2. And the guy comes back with, well, according to all the rumors, you're going to be wrong. I'm like, first off, they're actually, and he called himself a video games industry analyst in his Twitter bio, and he had like no followers. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. You, who's regurgitating everything from every other fucking resource, just like us, has the perfect idea of what's going to happen with the Switch. This is the Switch Pro rumors. A fucking OLED screen. So let's get into what all the Nintendo bros failed to predict was going to be the new Switch.
Hold on. Do you think he got super pissed off when he got that Kotaku notification? Like, right on his cell?
Probably. I actually wanted to like go. I wanted.
Son of a bitch.
I wanted to go back into my
message him and be like, "Hey, by the way, I don't know if you saw the new Kotaku article,
but you were wrong too, jackass." Yeah, so the new Switch is coming with a 7-inch OLED screen, a new adjustable stand, a new dock which comes with an Ethernet port, groundbreaking, and a new clean white look.
Wait, is the groundbreaking part the new clean white look or the Ethernet port?
Yes.
What? Oh, wait, what?
Yes.
Yeah, it's all really riveting stuff. There is no hardware upgrades, so it still can't do 1080p unless it's docked, right? And it doesn't fix any issues related to the Joy-Con, specifically how they fit up your ass.
Welcome back, Ren.
Oh man, it's an interesting time here.
Right. Yeah. Ren, do you want to go back into this conversation? Last time we had you on the show.
Let's go somewhere else.
Are you sure, Ren? You don't want to.
I am beyond positive. Thank you. Yes.
So yeah. In reality, it doesn't. They don't fix any of the issues that people have actually had with the Switch, which is no 1080p. In handheld mode, and specifically, it doesn't fix anything related to the Joy-Con drift issues, which have been a major problem for the devices.
Well, I mean, why would they fix the Joy-Con issues when they could just sell
you could just sell you new Joy-Cons.
Nintendo, an official Nintendo controller?
I mean, you're not wrong. I do have one.
That's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
Why fix the Joy-Con issue when you could just buy more Joy-Con remotes? You know.
Yeah. So yeah, to be honest, really lame. A really lame announcement. Holy cow. I'm actually surprised they didn't make this announcement at E3. Because it is just as blasé as everything else they announced at E3.
They were like big lights, like OLED now. Like that, okay. Is it 1080p OLED? No. So like it doesn't like.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say the people who use it as like a mobile gaming station, like they're getting a little bit of a bonus, but like what's the it's not like remarkable enough to where someone was like, oh hot damn, I'm gonna go buy another Switch right now.
Right.
Like in my opinion,
no,
like
exactly.
I wouldn't go buy a new Switch.
No, it honestly just seems like an update more than like an upgrade. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, okay, cool. Like for me, I don't care. I have a Switch. I'm completely content with it as is, right? And
Mm-hmm.
like hearing like, oh yeah, there's a new screen. It's like, okay,
And you play it as like an actual console though too. You plug it into a TV,
I do
right?
both. Yeah, I do
you
both.
you do
So
both? Okay.
occasionally I'll play as mobile, right? I'll play Stardew Valley on it or something like that, right? And
Mhm.
like, yeah, the FPS rates for like something like Breath of the Wild when you're playing in mobile are not good. I'll say that one first and foremost. They're not great, right? But yeah, I'll play some games on mobile, not too many. And then I'll also play it docked. And I'm gonna be dead honest, when you said the Ethernet port, I was like, no, my dock has an Ethernet port, right? I literally have the dock right here, right? And then I remembered, oh wait, no, I bought a stupid cord just to put in the Ethernet dock, and I remember hating the fact that I had to do that because that's the stupidest idea I've ever heard of in my life. Like what? So yeah, I don't care about that. That should have been a thing in the first place, but that's just me.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's that's where I stand on it.
So
Like, wow, really impressive.
yeah, I think for the most part, this is a product for people who haven't already bought a Switch
Right.
and they want one. And so now this is just another option. It's like, oh, do I go for the more expensive one with the OLED?
Yeah.
Like-
I think the only positive, to be fair, I could be totally wrong about this, right? But with a lot of the like GPUs have been like out of stock for a while, and like PS5s have been out of stock. Switches have also been out of stock. So I don't know if this impacts that literally at all or not. I have no idea. That'd be cool. Like I could see that being a reason why they maybe announced that, but I don't know. But yeah, that's like the only thing where it's like Switches have been out of stock. The only time that you can really find a Switch right now is maybe like the Switch Lite, the one where they don't actually have Joy-Cons and you can't dock it at all, and it's just the mobile console itself. But that's pretty much it. That's like the only reason where I maybe am like, okay, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
You know
Right.
what would be funny is if like scalpers bought like all the stock out of these, and then like nobody
The
ended
same
up wanting
exact
to buy
issue
them.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah, like no one actually wants to buy them, so the scalpers are like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I have all this stock of OLED Switches that nobody wants
Yeah.
because they already have Switches," and it just topples the scalping industry completely.
They
That's my only hope.
That's the move. Nintendo's trying to stop scalpers in their tracks.
They're the
Yeah.
heroes we didn't want, but they're the heroes that we need. Nintendo saves the day.
Man.
they're the heroes we deserve.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mario just coming in hot.
Yeah, I saw this. I had to laugh because of how underwhelming it was. Even our
Yeah.
friends in the game deflators were like,
Mm-hmm.
"Who wants this?" Like they didn't listen to anybody. Like they didn't listen to anyone's wants or needs for a new Switch console. Which I'm going to say right now, I'm going to plant my flag. This just solidifies the fact that there's not going to be a Switch 0.5. There's going to be a Switch like a Switch 1.5. There's going to be a Switch 2.0. There's going to be like the next generation console within 2 years. Because if they're like, this is such a bullshit like upgrade, like a non-grade, that they
Right.
have to be developing something else. And the Switch is in like the upper middle span part of its lifespan,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So it's gotta like, there's gotta be like something like actually in development, like starting right now that they're planning on releasing in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
The-
I mean, that makes sense too, right? Especially when they're like considering announcing like Breath of the Wild 2. I don't imagine Breath of the Wild 2's on like I probably on both the current and the new Switch or whatever they were gonna go for.
Yeah.
Right. But like I can't imagine that they're like, yeah, no, this just stays on this Switch. I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way.
They're gonna do like the Nintendo DS to 3DS situation,
Right. Yeah.
something
Yeah.
along those lines. I'm planting my flag down. I will eat my hat if that doesn't work, and my hat is made of candy, so I'm not gonna worry too much about it. I'm gonna get one of those tortilla chip sombreros.
Mm-hmm.
and eat that if I'm wrong. um, all right, so that's the Nintendo Switch OLED announcement. Let's go on ahead and talk. Let's humble ourselves a little bit and bundle some more of this news together and talk about Humble Bundle's charity splits. I know I'm not on the top of my transition game today.
It's fine. It's okay. You know what? I'm not judging.
As long as you do it boldly and confidently, it works.
Yeah, you tried your best, and that's what matters.
That was painful. It was painful.
If you pretend you have confidence, people will believe you have confidence.
That's true. That is true. How do you think I'm here?
I don't take these words from a non-mustached man.
Anyways, let me start out. As always, whenever we cover a company or organization we have an affiliate program with, we want to disclose that we are in fact affiliates, and we are affiliates with Humble Bundle. We do try to cover things as fairly as possible, regardless of potential financial gain or loss, but please keep in mind as we cover the story that we do have a Humble Bundle affiliate program. Or link, I should say. We are members of the Humble Bundle affiliate program. So earlier this year, Humble Bundle began testing a change to their pay what you want bundles, where instead of picking how much of the purchase went to devs, charity, and Humble through a set of sliders, there would be a fixed split with an option to give more to charity, effectively making sure that no one, especially Humble Bundle, would get left out.
Right. Yeah.
The change outraged a lot of people, and Humble Bundle rolled it back. But it seems like they're not really giving up on the idea, because of course that's money on the table. They need money to operate, and are now adjusting the sliders so that you can't cut Humble Bundle out of your purchase entirely. Quote, during the testing earlier this year, we heard your feedback in that choosing where your money goes through sliders is an important part of why you choose Humble. The community has also shared some great ideas about how to evolve sliders that we've taken into consideration throughout the process. There's going to be a hard split that will give a minimum 15 to 30% to Humble Bundle, which they say is necessary to keep the storefront running. Quote, the change to sliders lets us continue to invest in more exciting content so that we can keep growing the Humble community, which will ultimately drive more donations for charitable causes. We'll also continue to create more ways to give back, as with our 100% charity bundles. End quote. We can kind of go like around the table here. Ren, I'll start with you. How are you feeling about this?
So I actually, when it initially happened, I actually got rid of my affiliate link. I was affiliated with Humble Bundle prior, but when this was all going down, right, I actually just completely canceled it, because that was one of the main factors for me of Humble Bundle being such a good platform, right? Was the fact that you could just dictate what you want to give it to, right? If I want to fully support developers, I had the option to do that, and if I wanted to fully support like charities, I had the option to do that, and I could pick whichever ones I wanted to, right? That was a big deal for me. And then when they were initially testing this, it got vastly reduced. I think it was, I can't remember off the top of my head, but I don't think you could actually change anything. Like, I think there were no sliders at that point, right? It was just like, yeah, it's a certain percent, and then that's it, right? And for me personally, as somebody that did, that was affiliated with Humble Bundle, I liked the premise at the time, and I like it now. I like that they're reverting back to this, where they're bringing the splits back, and then you're able to work it now. I think that's a great step. I think that's definitely a step in the right direction. But there were a lot of other things at the time that I was just like, man, I kind of feel like I'm almost getting ripped off working on this, right? Where it's like, okay, that's like the first thing. But also the Humble monthly bundles that they like continuously announced, were getting worse and worse over time, in my opinion. This is all me, but in my opinion, they were getting worse and like lower quality for higher prices, as well as this, and I just couldn't justify going with it anymore. I am happy to hear that they are bringing the splits back, though. That's definitely a good move, because that was the biggest thing. I remember my very first time going to Humble Bundle and then seeing that, and I was like, this right here is what makes it different than every other like storefront. Every single other storefront, not a single other storefront does this, right? And that's a huge factor. That's really cool. The fact that I can just be like, I want to get this game, and I feel like I'm also doing it for like a good cause, right? So yeah, I'm happy that they're bringing back the splits. I personally don't think I'm gonna get my affiliateship back because I want to see where this is gonna go, right? I want to see if this is maybe like a step in the right direction or it's like a step and then a step back. I don't know. Only time will tell. But yeah, overall, I'm happy that they're doing this. That's really like my big thing. But, but yeah.
Green, what do you think? How are you feeling about this?
I'm pretty much in the same boat. Like I like the fact that they do have the splits, and that I've always liked Humble Bundle because they do give money to charity. As for like how big of an impact this has for me with Humble Bundle, I is yet to be seen. Like, I'm definitely gonna keep an eye on it. Like to see how like and like eventually pans out. Like if they adjust it from a few months from now, or it gets progressively worse with how much you actually have to pay Humble Bundle versus a charity. So yeah, right now it's for me. It's like watching, keeping an eye out.
Yeah. So my main source is PC Gamer, and the author of the article, Natalie Clayton, made a really good point, which is that Humble isn't really a charity as much as it's a business. And I think people need to have that in mind when thinking about Humble Bundle, because Humble Bundle, its marketing very much is like, hey, like, we're doing this for charity. We're doing this for charity. We're doing this for charity. Like, they put that in everything, right?
Yeah.
And I think people's wires can get crossed a little bit thinking about Humble Bundle in that way, in which they think that it is a charity when in reality it's a business. And the business model for them is to create a sales proposition that says, feel good about where you purchase, right? Feel good about your purchase and feel good about where you purchase, because where you purchase, if you're purchasing with Humble Bundle, is going to promote charity and charitable causes and giving, right? And so I think a lot of people do have like this wire cross in their brain where they think Humble Bundle is a charity and not a business. And as a business, they kind of have to make sure that they can operate. And I understand making these changes. Now, I think 15 to 30% is a little egregious.
Yeah.
Especially because of if we think about like 15 how the bill gets split up now on Humble Bundle, at a minimum there's 3, right? There's Humble Bundle, who takes a cut. There's the devs who take a cut, and then there's a charity who gets a cut.
Right.
Add in affiliates, and now there's 4 ways to split it. 15 to 30% of that is significant, right? If it's a $10 purchase and they're taking, we'll say the upper limit of 30%, they're taking $3 out of that purchase, which means now you have at a minimum 2 other parties who have to split up that $7. One of which is the license holder, who could be selling their game on Steam and making more. And so they will essentially take a cut if they sell on Humble Bundle. And then a charity who probably isn't going to complain about getting that money, but they'd probably rather just get direct donations. Right? So that upper limit of 30% I think is egregious.
Yeah.
For a platform.
I should probably note too, this is something I was thinking about the entire time. Steam's cut is 30% as well, right?
Yeah.
And like that, to me that seems weird, right? Like at least if I do that, I know that like sure all of that's going to the developers, like all the rest of it's going to the developers, right? And the nice thing about like having the sliders in the first place was I could fully decide how much like goes to what, right? So it's like I get it. I do get it, but also I feel like it kind of screws developers a little bit in the sense where it's like, okay, great. So no matter what, they're going to get less money than if they were doing it through any other platform.
Yeah.
Right? If they're doing it through Steam, they make more money. Yeah. Right? Sure, they do it for a charitable cause and they do it for a good reason, for sure, obviously. But like 30% is quite a bit. Like that's a hot amount for a thing that also like tries to advocate on that charity work.
Yeah.
That's the way that I view it personally.
Yeah. So that upper limit of 30%, I think, is too high. I think that
Yeah.
their upper limit needs to be at most 15.
Yeah.
I think Humble Bundle needs to just say we're going to guarantee ourselves a cut between 5 and 15%. No more, because Humble Bundle is just the platform. They're not doing the marketing really.
Right.
They're not marketing the games. They market the bundles.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not, I mean, I'm sorry, a marketing budget isn't that intense. Right, especially for a platform like this.
Right.
I would say like 15% at the most. 30% is just, like I said, it's egregious. It's a massive chunk that then gets split between at the minimum 2 parties, and then you also can add in a third party, which would be the affiliates, because the affiliates, if they are doing the bulk of your advertising, which they are for Humble Bundle, affiliates do the bulk of the marketing for Humble Bundle. They get a cut too. So yeah, they need to make sure that they're going down to their minimum cut, or their maximum cut is going to be 15%. Make sure they can't get completely cut out at 5%, unless they can show documents that show that that's not enough. Like, I want to actually see like some hard numbers. IGN, who owns Humble Bundle, show us some hard numbers about why you think 30%, which would be essentially the lion's share of a purchase, especially like a $10 purchase. I would love to see an actual justification with some numbers and graphs. As they're making these change, if Humble Bundle, you see this, 15%.
Yeah, I think that's very reasonable. I think if it's 15%, like I'm on board with that. You know what I mean? Like, then I know at least the developers aren't getting screwed in the process, right?
Mm-hmm. Or the charity.
That's kind of my issue. Yeah, exactly. It's like I want the developers to make money too. Don't get me wrong. So like, when you're just saying I'm offering equal cuts to Steam, it's like, yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm sure a lot of like game devs do want to support. Also, a lot of game devs don't make a whole ton of money. Like, a lot of indie developers don't make a lot of cash. This is how they make their money. As much as they want to support, take a 30% cut is huge for something that's also taking cuts in other places as well. Maybe they're not taking the cuts themselves, but the fact that it's like, yeah, it's a 30% cut on top of like whatever that person offers to charity as well. Right?
And also, I also want to point out, right, the inventory for these items, right, or the inventory for these games comes out of their inventory for Steam. You get Steam keys, which means they had to allocate those keys on Steam, because you have to go to Steam and say, like, how many copies do I think I'm going to sell? I think I'm going to sell 100,000 copies. And if they have left over, or if like they're not selling as much and they go to Humble Bundle, they have to allocate those Steam keys to Humble Bundle, right? So it's coming out of inventory that they could be selling for more.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just wanted to I interjected there. I just wanted to point that out.
Oh,
too.
No, it's totally fine. I totally get it. I think, for me, I think it's just the fact that there's a lot of different areas where they've been making price increases, right? Yeah. There's quite a few where it's like the monthly bundles have gotten worse overall. They got more expensive. The regular bundles on average have gotten like less higher quality, right? They used to be phenomenal. They used to be like insanely good, and it was like, oh man, one, this is a steal, and like two, this is like, man, Humble Bundle's great. Like that was how I felt every time that happened. I know it's an unrealistic like expectation of like, yeah, just add more cool games and then make them less. That's like, that, no way. That doesn't work. This is a business. I totally agree with that, and I totally get that. But yeah, I think that's the thing. I don't know. I'm not gonna say I know how to fix it. You know what I mean? But I will say that like that it just feels worse than it did. Maybe that's just my opinion. But yeah, I feel like it had a golden years for a while, and like it's just starting to come out of it, and I would like it not to. I'd like to go straight back up, but yeah, waiting to see when that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I don't think I have anything else I wanted to add to this. Green, was there anything you wanted to add?
No, sir.
Ren?
No, I'm good.
Excellent. Let's move on from charity to I don't want to say this is politics, but it's policy. It's policy.
Yeah.
So let's talk some policy for the United States. Let's talk about the most important people in the world, Americans. USA, USA, USA. Right? So I do apologize to anyone who is outside of the States. This section here is going to be a states-focused segment. But yeah, the Biden administration is taking a look into two very serious issues for gamers and just consumers in general, that being net neutrality and right to repair. So first, we're going to go into right repair because that is the topic between the two of them that we have talked about the most recently. And that is Biden is reportedly working on a right to repair executive order, which comes after the report from the FCC Trade Commission detailing the restrictive policies that tech and engineering firms use to prevent people from repairing their own products or having third-party technicians do the repairs. We talked about this a couple weeks ago, or was it about a month and a half ago? It's about a month and a half ago.
I would say it was about a month, yeah. A little over a month.
Yeah, I think with American Riot, I'll try to remember to put a card right up in the corner at some point near this section. So, like I said, we talked about this, but a really good example is Apple Macs being notoriously hard to repair, and all the warranties being voided if the product is taken to an unauthorized repair technician. And also non-authorized repair technicians are like not able to get the parts to like repair Apple Macs. A big part of the ongoing debate right now, and one that the Biden administration is really looking at, is a focus on agricultural equipment from John Deere, where like farmers have to take their tractors, their $1 million tractors, which are used for our fuel and food supply, mind you. Mm-hmm. So they have to stop production in order to take it to John Deere to get it repaired because they can't repair it either on their own or have an unauthorized technician work on it. So the FTC, like we mentioned all those weeks back, reported that the policies that a lot of these firms and companies had in place were in effect anti-competitive, and it seems the administration is willing to rule by executive order on the issue. The draft is being worked on last week, but it's unsure when it will be signed and released. And as I mentioned before, it seems like a lot of this has to mostly focus on agricultural equipment, but there could be expanded consequences throughout technology and engineering.
Right.
Green, thoughts?
Yes. I don't know. Executive orders are kind of weird. Because like I've always been like 100% with like the right to repair. But when it comes to like politics, like being enforced by the government, I kind of don't trust the government. So they like to sneak other things into it. So I don't know. Hopefully it's done correctly. If that is something that actually gets looked into.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. Government scary. Big scary.
Don't let the ATF know where you live, Green.
I will never. Well, they already know. That's the problem.
Ren, what do you think?
I think it's great. I think that's a good. Obviously, yeah, sure. There could definitely be things that are inside of the in the fine details, right? And that's probably going to happen. I wouldn't be shocked if that wasn't. But it's a step in the right direction, right? And if you're opening if you're opening the door, right? There's always time to go back and like take out some of those details, right? I'm sure somebody is eventually just going to like notice something and be like, I hate that part. Like, I hate that part. Like some future president down the road is going to be like, this part right here sucks, right? But getting that initial like opening in, I think that's great. I think that's a good move, right? Right to repair is obviously something that a lot of people really want. right? And like, yeah, the John Deere example, I actually saw that one a while back. That was the first time I saw it come into like limelight in an agricultural sense, because like I knew about it in terms of like technology and things like that, but I've never really thought about it in terms of agriculture. And yeah, no, it makes sense to open up this door, and I think it's just a good idea. Just overall, I don't see any realistic downsides to this. Sure, there's going to be like a couple here and there. I don't know what off the top of my head, but I think it's a great idea. I think it's a good move.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is generally a step in the right direction. I would rather see it go through legislation, such as the proposed law from Louis Rossmann. Mostly because executive orders they tend not to last as administrations change,
Right.
which we'll talk about here in a little bit, where like administration to administration, net neutrality changed quite a bit. So I'd rather see legislation get passed. Louis Rossmann still has his bill out. You guys can go support him. I threw my money down on it. I 100% believe in the campaign that he's doing there. It also bears repeating that certain industries already have right to repair built into them, like automotive, right? It is enshrined in law that in the automotive industry that you have a right to repair your vehicle. Either you can do it yourself or get a third party to do it for you. You don't have to take your car to a Ford dealership or a Toyota dealership or whatever. And get, you don't have to buy your parts from them specifically, right? You can get them from third parties, and no one complains about that, right?
Yeah.
So you have to think about it like that way, like, right? You enjoy doing it to your automobile, you should enjoy being able to do it to your phone. And yeah, this is all good. Let's move on to net neutrality, something we haven't talked about in a pretty long time. I can't think of the last time we talked about it on the show.
Man, I feel like the last time we talked about it, I was still a co-host.
So since it's been that long, let's have a quick definition for anyone who is unaware of what net neutrality is. Net neutrality is the idea that all internet traffic must be treated the same by internet service providers. So a great example of this is Comcast, who owns NBC Universal and Peacock, can't slow down or charge more for data coming from Netflix, right? Because that is a clear conflict of interest of Comcast, who owns the infrastructure to millions of people's homes, who could detrimentally affect other businesses through anti-competitive practices. Conversely, though, right, because everyone sees that arrangement, like, okay, yeah, great. Conversely, other side of the coin here, that also means that AT&T can't let you stream Dish Network for free. Right? They still have to charge you for, even though AT&T owns Dish Network, and they're not going to affect anyone else's data, they can't give preferential treatment to Dish Network by saying AT&T customers can stream Dish Network for free. Right? Yeah. So there's two, which would be pro-consumer, right? Mm-hmm. That's a bonus for buying an AT&T service. So that is net neutrality. Those are some examples of how it affects. So net neutrality rules were rolled out under Obama's FCC and were repealed by Trump's FCC, and that the Trump's FCC administration's chairhead, Ajit Pai, aka the poster child for corporatism in the United States. If you guys don't know why I hate Ajit Pai, just go through the backlog. I have lots of reasons. But now Biden has signed a new executive order that encourages the FCC to restore net neutrality to the rules that existed prior to 2017. Someone in the chat, yeah, Ajit Pai, most punchable face forever. Look him up. He actually has a punchable face. He does. I was in a room with him once, and I really wish I could have done it. That's not a lie either. I've been in a room with Ajit Pai. Radio Broadcasters Association in Austin, Texas, 2018. Yeah, I think that's 2018. Um, he's a slimy guy. Anyways, so yeah, this unfortunately doesn't like actually restore rules right now. This like wasn't him,
Right.
like restoring the rules. It was just him strongly suggesting the FCC does it. So more than likely it will happen, where they will roll back net neutrality rules to prior to 2017. I would like to see some changes in the terminology of net neutrality. I think there are certain things in terms of net neutrality that are or anti net neutrality that are pro consumer, that can be seen as a benefit to consumers, like my AT&T example, right? Where maybe where you can get like no charges or something like that would, and I see nothing wrong with that. I don't think that harms consumers. Where it does harm consumers is when internet service providers decide to start cutting or charging more for data from different sources.
Or like
Right, yeah.
packages, like that was a big thing with net neutrality. Is it like it stopped companies, ISPs from like doing like a Facebook and social media category a package like they do for TV. Like
Right.
TV, you had to buy if you want a sports package, you had to pay extra for the sports package and stuff like that. They could have easily done like with no net neutrality. They could have easily done like a social media, YouTube, bundles to where you
Mhm.
couldn't access these websites if you didn't pay the extra for that bundle.
Yeah, and I am very curious because a big thing in I think I worried about certainly with net neutrality activists is like, oh, like it'll just be like the Wild West, right? Like which didn't happen, but I
Right.
wonder if the reason it didn't happen was because
Because
first,
people were already worried about it.
well, I wonder if it was the bad PR and because it was done through executive order.
Right. Yeah.
Because as we mentioned, right, it changed. The Obama administration rolled it out in the last 4 years of its term, and then the Trump administration rolled it out in 2017. So it lasted for 3 years, going on 4 years now. Right, so that's a short amount of time to like really try to revamp your business model and try to like do something. Um, Right, so I wonder if it was mostly just like they're like, we don't know if this administration is gonna last, anyways. It's
Yeah.
like, is it even really worth having to like do anything? I wonder how much of that was a factor, or if if internet service providers even tried. Um, Again, I would like to see something that basically just dictates that says like you can't be a detriment to other businesses, but you can in effect like promote your own businesses, right? Like if Comcast want to be like, hey, we're not going to charge you or anything, like we're not going to charge you data overages for like streaming Peacock, right? I see no problem with that, but I do see a problem when they start like, nope, can't watch Hulu. We're gonna
Yeah.
you can only stream Hulu at half speed. Yeah, no, fuck that. That to me is like, that is a detriment to other businesses and consumers, which should not be allowed. But
Right.
again, if they want to give like some sort of premium treatment to Peacock, sure.
Yeah, I think that like in itself is like a little bit of a diverse issue, right? Because you can also see it from the same side of like, okay, well they're getting it for free and I have to pay for it. I guess you could see it from that like limelight as well. But I was going somewhere with this. Oh, right. I was gonna say I think really like the reason why nothing was pushed was because of the bad PR. I think that was like the biggest issue, right? Because everybody was so not happy with some certain laws, and I'm sure internet companies were afraid that they were probably like, no, I don't want backlash and then this to just blow up in my face. We can take this slow if we need to, right? Like you said, it's 4 years. That's not really that long time in terms of this sort of like field, right?
Yeah.
So I could definitely see that being the reason why they're like, oh yeah, no, if anything, I see that's the reason why they're doing stuff like that, right? Where it's like, okay, Dish is free. It's like, okay, that's a positive reason as to why net neutrality shouldn't be a thing, right? Is because like I can offer up free services. That's a thing I can do, right? It just so happens I'm also kind of like getting rid of some of these on the side, but like namely I'm like highlighting these positives, right?
Yeah.
And I could see that being an issue. I would honestly say, at least for me personally, I could live without the positives if it means like stopping that possibility of those negatives.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's the way I look at it. It's like, sure, yeah, I wouldn't mind having Dish, I guess, but like also at the same time, I'd rather not. I'd rather have like my rights to go do whatever I want. You know what I mean? So that's the way I look at it personally.
Yeah. And it only gets, it's one of those things where I'm a big advocate for media literacy. I think people should like understand, should have like a base understanding of telecommunications, mass communication, like the companies who run things, who own things, right? Like how many people know that Comcast owns NBC Universal?
Yeah.
You know, how many people know that Time Warner owns like certain news networks and, you know, like that, and how...
Yeah, this just isn't common knowledge,
Mhm.
right? And like, honestly, I wouldn't expect it to be, you know what I mean? Like, that people have lives to live. I don't know these things, you know what I mean? I have things I need to do. But, no, I agree. I think they should be like more like highlighted features, right? Of like, these are the things that they care about, obviously.
People should know that each internet service provider has like a agreement with all the other ISPs for regional control.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That is something to look into. And that is a real issue as to why like there's like hardly any real competition between ISPs. It's because of the regional agreements. Look it up.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's something that should actually be looked into like severely, but no one talks about it. So
yeah. So actually, real quick, just like a specific local thing to me in Green, was that like in Iowa, like the ISPs have basically falsified the information on their broadband maps, which kept smaller startup ISPs from being able to enter different areas. It's actually like a really big issue where some of these providers were saying like, yeah, people can get like high speed internet, like this is like the speeds we offer in this area, and they were not available at all.
Yeah, and I think we even talked about something like, I think we talked about this once before when I was on, and I think we were talking about municipalities as well, like having state owned or like region owned like specific internet providers, because not everybody has internet, obviously. And I'm of the opinion that like, you know, it's at this stage in the world, it should be pretty much like everybody should have the access to internet at this point. You get jobs from the internet, you do anything from the internet at this point, right? Yeah. So it's like, yeah, there needs to be some sort of baseline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that way, at bare minimum, I'm not getting screwed by my internet provider just because they can.
And our biggest issue is that like we have the main big high speed internet provider, right? And that has the fastest, when it fucking works, fastest internet.
Yeah.
Well, their only competition is extremely small, like broadband companies like what it used to be called Quest. I can't remember what it's called
CenturyLink now.
CenturyLink, yeah, which is like their max is like 50 megabytes down, I think, and it's super expensive. And then you have like city municipality internet, which don't get me wrong, some of the cities are great. Like there's one city that I'm not in range for that has 1 gig fiber optic that fucking blows our big company out of the water, but we're not in that area. So they essentially like everyone in the area for us, like if they want high speed internet, they have to go through that company, or move to the city that has the 1 gig internet. Whereas like there's no like Cox is on like the left side of state, Omaha and stuff like that, when they just intersect over like a very short area. And then you know you go east and you have what's it can't remember the other one.
Windstream,
like Comcast, Windstream, so like the bigger internets. So
and one thing I will mention, Ren, that you kind of alluded to, you know, if 2020 taught us anything, is that internet is essential for a lot of people to be able to do their job. Internet is essential for Basically any company with a point of sale system, like they need internet now. Modern point of sale systems require internet. A lot of businesses require internet, and that is, you know, and what I will also say, and this is just me going to get on my soapbox, and then I think we can move on to this conversation. You know, there's a difference between capitalism. There's a difference between corporatism. And as I said with Ajit Pai, who was a lawyer for Verizon, right? A lot of this has happened because major players in telecommunications get into positions of power and can then dictate the policies by which telecommunications is regulated, right? The argument being that the people who run telecommunications companies know the telecommunications industry better than anyone else. And so who better to regulate themselves than themselves, right? Well, that means they can split up the pie and collude with each other. And that is something that needs to happen. Yeah. Split.
Sorry, keep going. Sorry.
No, don't apologize. Don't apologize. That was too good. That was too fucking good. Anyways, that's my soapbox on capitalism and corporatism, in which I am an avid capitalist, but fucking hate corporatism. Don't let people who like can get paid off decide like how shit runs like that. Anyways, let's move on. We're running long on the show, which is not necessarily a bad thing because I love talking to you guys. But
sorry, I didn't do this when I'm here.
It's all good. We got deals of the month. Let's talk about them.
Deals of the month.
All right, these are deals that you guys can take on right now, starting with Prime Gaming. On Prime, of course, if you guys have an Amazon Prime account, you can connect your Amazon account to your Twitch account. You can get a free sub. Go spend it on Ren or Green Elite. Go spend it on one of those
Danny
guys.
K.
No, don't spend it on me.
Danny.
This guy.
Spend it on Imposter Danny.
Don't spend
So
it on
that
me.
way, it's the ransom that we need to get real Danny.
Real Danny will be back in 2 to 3 business weeks. All right, so starting with Twitch Prime, Amazon Prime Gaming, you can get Portal Dogs until August 2nd, Rad, R-A-D, until August 2nd, Secrets of Monkey Island Special Edition. You guys want to guess when you can get that?
Would I take a guess of August 2nd?
You would be correct. Automa Chef, August 2nd, Batman the Enemy Within, August 2nd, The Wanderer, Frankenstein's Creature, that's free until August 2nd, The Tales of the Neon Sea, once again, available until August 2nd. That is what you can pick up right now with Twitch Prime Gaming. Available on... Go ahead.
I was gonna say I've heard Secrets of Monkey Island is actually pretty good. I'm not familiar with it, and I feel like I've heard of Rad before, and that one also being pretty good. Haven't heard too many of these other ones.
Yeah, I haven't heard. That seems to be the thing with Twitch Prime. It's like,
there's like one or two that are maybe like kind of known, and then the rest of them are like, I have never heard of this in my life.
Yeah, they're like super old, or it's like, oh yeah, I think I saw that once, maybe.
Yeah.
All right, so Humble Bundle right now. Again, we are Humble Bundle affiliates. If you guys want to help support the show, check the link in the description where you can get our link. Full disclosure, that helps support us, so that money actually goes into Green Elite's pocket. If you want to help support him. Right now, until July 18th, there is the Plug-in Digital Sale, the Panzer Corps Franchise Sale, the World Builder Sale, the Big Japan Sale, and Yakuza Franchise Sale. Those all end on July 18th. Ending in 2 days from this recording, there is the 505 Games Sale and Greatest Hits Sale. Again, we're Humble Bundle affiliates. If you want to help support us, check out the link in the description. Continue on to GOG, Good Old Games, GOG. There is the French Touch Sale, which is a sale focusing on French developers. That goes on for 5 more days, and there's an Activision Publisher Sale for 5 more days on GOG. Going on to Epic, some free games that you can pick up there until July 15th, so 2 days from this recording. Walking Dead Bridge Constructor is free, as well as Ironcast. Starting on July 15th and available until July 22nd is Abduction and Off-World Trading Company. Any of those tickle your guys' fancy?
I'm looking through the French Touch sale right now because I saw like I just hopped onto their website real quick and I saw A Plague Tale: Innocence, and that is a pretty cool game if you haven't heard of it before. It's very story driven. It's not, I wouldn't exactly call it a combat or like super gameplay focused game, but I know a lot of people are really interested in it. A lot of people really liked it. I would definitely look into this French sale for sure because I'm seeing a couple of games in here that are really cool. Dishonored is in here, the whole Dishonored series. Prey is in here, and I think I saw another one that I've seen before that's I really enjoyed. But yeah, I would definitely look into that one the most. That one's definitely grabbing my attention right off the bat.
Yeah. Green, anything there for you that you wanted to mention?
For the which one?
For the for any of those sales, any of those things tickle your fancy? Yeah.
Would I give anything to Activision? Not right now. No. Welcome. Still mad at you. Not returning your calls for a reason, Activision. Fuck off.
All right, well, let's talk about this, about the PlayStation and Xbox. What do you got?
Yeah. So PlayStation Plus is going to, for the month of July, if you have the PlayStation Plus membership, you can get Call of Duty Black Ops 4 for PS4, as well as WWE 2K Battlegrounds. So like the cartoonish style wrestling game. If you're one of the lucky few that have a PlayStation 5 and a PlayStation Plus member,
Yeah, you're one of the 3 people out there that have it.
one of the 3 people that are going to get this game. A Plague Tale: Innocence, which is I've never really seen it before, but it's like
so basically, sorry, because I was just talking about this one a little bit.
If you know what you're talking about.
It's the setting is like it's during the bubonic plague. That's kind of the idea, right? So it's the story of like I think it's a princess or something like that, and her little brother trying to survive the bubonic plague. It's really cool. It's super interesting. I liked watching it. I haven't played it personally. It's definitely something that you watch and like get everything from it. But if you want to play it, that's totally the thing that you could do.
So Xbox Games Pass for July is also getting a few games actually. Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. Yeah,
Okay.
comes to the cloud on July 1st. Bug Fables: The Everlasting Sapling comes to cloud, console, and PC. Gang Beasts comes to cloud, console, and PC. Immortal Realms: Vampire Wars comes to all 3. Limbo
is really good. That's a pretty
Space
solid one.
Jam: A New Legacy comes to Game Pass Ultimate.
Like I get to play as Bugs Bunny Space Jam, or
I don't know if that's supposed to be like the actual game. Like I didn't know if they made a game of it or if it's like the movie. I don't know. So, and then A Plague Tale goes for next gen on July 6th. Microsoft Flight Simulator hits July 27th, and then The Ascent hits on July 29th. And that's all I got for Xbox.
Nice.
Excellent. Was there any other deals that we wanted to mention? Any other sales or things people should pick up?
Not that I can think of.
None that I could think of. Steam sales are pretty much done in terms of like summer sales and all of that, which is kind of unfortunate.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully something comes out soon. I doubt it. I don't think they do a like really crazy sales until like fall.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah.
There'll probably be like a publisher or franchise sale, but I can't imagine there'll be much else.
Right.
Until like November.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Which I mean, go ahead.
I was gonna say you can unlock the real Danny K for 5 easy payments of $5.99 and wait 2 weeks. That's the only sale I can think of.
Yeah.
For the new trimmer.
I mean, you mentioned the Steam sale because we kind of missed it last week with our week off. Was there anything you guys picked up that you wanted to mention?
I bought so many things.
Yeah.
I
I believe I got Hunt Showdown half off. I picked up For Honor, which was like $5.99, I think, or $4.99. I haven't played that one yet.
Oh, okay.
I got the stick game, the stick fighting game. What else did I get? Adventures of Chris, which I know Rev talked about a lot, and looked super fun. And then there was something else, and I don't remember what it was. Clearly, that's not a good sign. I have a game floating around in my inventory.
It's unaccounted for.
Yeah, it's very unaccounted for. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it here. For Honor.
Ren, what'd you get?
So I actually didn't buy anything. But I did notice like a lot of games that I have bought in the past that I do really enjoy. Like Resident Evil 2 was on sale. Terraria obviously was on sale. All Night was on sale for like $10. I think it was like even less than $10. Darkest Dungeon was on sale for like $7, which is absurd. Like that game is so good. And what else? I know there were a couple of other ones. There was a lot of really good indie sales, though. I definitely, like, if I didn't have them already, I would be like, oh, well, obviously I need to pick these up. The downside of playing games for, like, the past, like, 5 years, unfortunately, is I kind of own everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay. But there were a lot of good sales this year. I didn't see too many, like, AAA title games that I was like really on board with, though. You know what I mean? To be fair, there hasn't been that many like good releases out in terms of AAA, but like not that many sales in terms of that. It was all pretty much indie dev stuff, which don't get me wrong, is great. I was just like, wow, I expected something else. I don't know.
Yeah,
I found it.
What was it?
Uno.
That's a good purchase. I can't lie.
It was $3.99.
So
haven't downloaded it yet.
Yeah. Here's what I ended up picking up: Dishonored 2, BioShock Infinite, and
So
Left
good.
4 Dead 2.
Also, so good.
Yeah,
Great.
Well,
Those are great games.
Because I played Dishonored, and so I hadn't picked up the second one yet. And I mean, I kind of figured we'd kind of like just go through the story, you know.
Right.
Not that I thought Dishonored was good, but like we can finish the story. BioShock Infinite. Just because I finished BioShock 2, I'm like, you know what? Let's just round it out. Left 4 Dead 2, I've never really played a Left 4 Dead game, either of them.
Really?
Yeah, like,
oh, wow.
I didn't have it on PC.
Uh-huh.
I played like at a friend's house once on like an Xbox.
Yeah.
But it is a game that like I know a lot of people really like playing. They'll go back to it, and it just seems like a good like collaborative game. Like,
oh yeah,
Ren, Green, and some other rando. Let's go play Left 4 Dead too for like a night.
Yeah,
like something like that. You know, that's why I picked it up. I figured it's a fun one for people to enjoy together.
Yeah, it's super good. There were times where it actually went free on Steam, like a couple of times, because it is a Valve game, and they were really trying to market Steam at the time. But yeah, they announced it like during Christmas events. They're all like, "Here, just have Left 4 Dead 2," and it's like, oh, all right, cool.
Yeah.
So I think that's really what like built it up. But it is a really good game, Left 4 Dead 2 specifically, because it actually has the content of the first Left 4 Dead 1 in it. So you can. It's basically like you just got both games. Yeah. So super cool, nice, dude.
So those are my Steam sale pickups. Not like a ton. It's like 3 games. I think I spent under $20.
Yeah, those are all 3 great games, though. I to be fair, I haven't played Dishonored, but BioShock Infinite I loved, and Left 4 Dead 2 is like a staple game. I feel like that's a game that most people should just have.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of going through like I feel like when I first started getting into gaming, I missed a lot of like landmark games.
Right.
Because I didn't have an Xbox until I was like 17 is when we got like, so I was like, and I was still on a Wii up until that point in a DS. So like there's just like some games like Borderlands, which I still don't have any of the Borderlands games like that I didn't touch. Some of the like early Call of Duties I played at friend's house.
Right.
You know, there was like just certain like landmark games. Like I never touched any of the BioShocks until very recently. You know, Fallout New Vegas is probably like the one that like of like that era that like which I still love that I had. So I feel like I'm doing some catch up. I feel like I'm playing catch up.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely a ton of good ones out there. I didn't even know that you haven't played Borderlands. Borderlands is a great one for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, and I think like they go on sale for like it goes on sale like all the DLCs and everything for like $5 at times.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap up the show because we are running very long. So
I haven't played Borderlands either.
What was that, Green?
I've never played Borderlands either.
What is wrong with both of you? What? Oh, okay. All right.
Let's wrap up the show. Ren.
Yeah, you get me out of here.
Yeah, go on ahead and tell the kind folks out there who you are, what you do, where people can find you.
Well, my name is Ren. I'm a variety streamer on Twitch. I play all sorts of games. I've been really on a Terraria binge right now. I've been doing what's called Hardcore Master Mode. So basically, I play it on its hardest difficulty, and if I die, I delete the entire character, I delete the world, and I start from scratch all over again. So it's kind of a nightmare. I've lost my mind a couple of times. There's been some times where I've almost cried. But yeah, it's been super fun. It's been a great time. And if you want to stop on over, it's twitch.tv/renditionzz with 2 Z's, because I'm dumb and I can't spell my own name. But yeah, so that's me.
Green Elite, what's coming up on your channel?
I'm gonna be playing some Destiny coming up soon. And then probably gonna sneak some Tarkov in there, and I'm probably gonna play some Hunt Showdown because we have an addiction, and we go through this together, Danny. We go through this addiction together. But you can catch me on twitch.tv/Mr. Greenlee. I'm also on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and OnlyFans is Mr. Greenlee. So, except for Instagram, Instagram's TTV, Mr. Greenlee. I do have an OnlyFans. I legitimately have an OnlyFans now. Have I posted anything to it? Absolutely not.
I'm happy for you.
Yeah. I'm an accountant.
Really proud of you.
So Rev's not here. I'll speak for him on his behalf. Guys, go follow Rev's Fen TV on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, I believe. Rev's Fen on Twitch, and Rev's Fen on YouTube as well. So make sure you guys go follow him. Go give him some love, some support. Coming up, I don't know what's coming up on his stuff, but coming up on my channel, I have. Let's see. This Friday, I'm playing Metro Exodus. Saturday, I think I'm going to be playing Hunt Showdown or Enlisted. Not sure which. Depends on what Green wants to do. We'll probably play Hunt Showdown together. Because again, it's like when you go get Thai food with your friend, right? You're just in it together. So yeah, probably Hunt Showdown Saturday night, and probably going to follow that up with Enlisted Sunday night. Otherwise, you guys can find me on Twitter, Instagram at DannyK, DANIECAE. You can also find me on TikTok on Danny K Media. You can also find me on YouTube under that name, where you'll also find every episode of this podcast. And speaking of which, guys, it's going to wrap up the show for this week. We appreciate all of you for watching and joining us. It really does mean a lot to us that you would take the time out to listen to the show. Your time is one of the most valuable gifts that you guys can give to us. Don't forget the question of the week this week, which is, what is a game that you find yourself going back to? Let us know in the comments, or you can tweet at us. Don't forget about the meme contest, right? If you guys want a chance to win a $60 gift card to a platform of your choice, store of your choice, go on ahead and make a meme related to the show. Go on ahead and tag us in it using the hashtag NTN and the number 3, NTN3. We will, the runner-up will also get an exclusive NTN mug. If you guys missed any part of the show, you guys can watch and listen to us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. If you guys want to help support the show, you guys can leave a like, subscribe, and comment. Comments on anything that you guys agree or disagree with us on the show, anything that you guys want to mention, bring up, anything we forgot or were incorrect on, let us know in the comments on YouTube. But if you guys want to help support the show, and the number one top tier way to do that is by telling your friends. Like going on and retweeting us on Twitter, all that stuff. Telling your friends about us is the number one way to help support the show. With that, guys, have a great rest of your week. Stay safe, stay cool. We'll talk to you guys again next week, and we love you all. Bye!
All right,
Love
bye,
you.
guys.